Gauteng Finance MEC Lebogang Maile says the 20.1 billion rand e-toll debt will have a significant impact on the province's already limited resources. Tabling his medium-term budget policy statement, Maile says its impact will be more pronounced given the reduction in funding to provinces from National Treasury. Speaking in the provincial legislature, he's emphasized that there will be no job cuts in education, health or any sector impacted by budget cuts and debt prioritization. Let's cross now to my colleague Nosipho Radebe, who is standing by to have a conversation with him. Nosipho, it's over to you. Hi, Nosipho, it's over to you.
Well, Nompu, we are coming to you live from the Gauteng provincial legislature here in Johannesburg, where the spending priorities for Gauteng, the country's largest contributor to GDP in terms of provinces, over a third contribution coming from this province. And those spending priorities outlined in the medium-term budget policy statement here today. And we heard indeed that e-toll debt, as well as the reduced funding from the National Treasury, that really weighing on the province here. But to give us sort of an understanding of the balancing act that's had to take place in terms of the budget is the MEC for Finance himself, Lebogang Maile. MEC, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. As I mentioned, a balancing act in terms of budget priorities, debt management coming to the fore, but you've mentioned that job cuts are not on the cards. Talk to us about those spending priorities.
Good afternoon to you and the viewers at home. Indeed, it was a very difficult balancing act to do because, as you have already said, we are losing money from different angles. Firstly, our equitable share, and secondly, we must pay for the e-tolls, but thirdly, our population was overstated and there is some money that we're losing. But we also have other unforeseen items like the medical legal issues in the Department of Health which might come up. So it's a very difficult, delicate situation to manage, and in the end we are committed to making sure that there is no job that's going to be lost. We are committed to ensure that we cushion the vulnerable and the poor. We continue to fight poverty, we continue to fight crime, we continue to engage, invest in other important things like the funding for the NPOs.
And talk to us, because you've also mentioned in terms of municipalities, they provide revenue, electricity revenue, that's quite a big one. Talk to us about the plans around there, especially with municipalities that are struggling in terms of that electricity revenue.
Yeah, electricity is one of the biggest areas for revenue generation for the municipalities. And as you know, there have been some challenges with a lot of our municipalities, and most of them have got a myriad of challenges that they are facing, which impacts negatively on their ability to raise revenue. So we are working with them, want to help them to ensure that they deal with that challenge. But you will also know that ESCOM has got a debt relief program, and we are glad that some of our municipalities have already been approved to be part of that debt relief program, and already one has qualified, which is Rand West municipality. And we will continue to work with ESCOM, work with the municipalities, work with the Minister of Energy to ensure that we find an everlasting solution so that energy security is not compromised, service delivery is not compromised, economy is not compromised. So we have to coordinate better and make sure that we support each other as the three spheres of government.
And you've taken a page out of the budget that we heard from Finance Minister Gauteng in terms of increasing work in terms of infrastructure. We know that that will help with economic growth. as well as job creation. Talk to us about the plans there, improving infrastructure in the province.
You are correct to say we took page from the minister, because we have been part of those discussions at the national level, and all provinces agreed that there has to be increased investment in infrastructure. We have set aside just over 13 billion for infrastructure investment. We will be looking at alternative funding because we want to invest more on economic infrastructure, so the infrastructure that can help us to regenerate our economy. And Gauteng, as you said, it's a big economy, so if it doesn't work, it means that there are serious implications for the country's economy. So we've got several huge infrastructure projects in the pipeline, starting with the maintenance of the e-tolls. We will spend about 4.1 billion there. We've got infrastructure project in transport, the Johannesburg-Limpopo rail. It's a big long term. We've got the expansion of the Gauteng to the two other regions of our province, which is West Rand and Sedibeng. We've got a new airport coming up there in Sedibeng, which will see, I think, investment of, not sure about the figures, but anything between 20 and 200 billion there from private sector. In fact, it's about 200 billion. And we will, working with DTIC, be investing on bulk for that project. There's an inland port project from Tshwane to Lebogang for the transport of goods, especially the automotive center. The automotive industry. So there's a lot of infrastructure projects that are in the pipeline, and that's why we will be going to Morocco next week for the Africa Investment Conference. We will be hosting our own investment conference in February, and we'll be mobilizing the private sector to invest aggressively and work with us, because we have set aside resources. We are also looking at other avenues within the public space, and we'll then want the private sector to come to the party as well.
All right, we'll leave it on that note. MEC, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. As you heard it there, Nompu, MEC of Finance here in Gauteng, Lebogang Maile, outlined those spending priorities for the province in the coming years. And that's over to you in studio.
Thanks very much, my colleague there, Nosipho Radebe.